my nikicharmz, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a minute, but we have a balloon tutorial for you guys today. Today I'm doing a Barbie inspired Pretty in Pink balloon wall. So I know you guys will be excited for it. I've done a balloon tutorial a couple months back, but it was a little more complicated, but this one I think will be more simple. This strategy, this way, will be definitely a little more simpler because the summer ends and we put away Barbie and move into fall and winter. I wanted to give you a last balloon tutorial on the Barbie theme. So if you're interested in something like this, continue to watch. Okay, let's get started. So I'm using two lamp stands that I got from Walmart. You can get it from Walmart or IKEA. They roughly cost about $10 to $15. I have multiple of them. They definitely come in handy. This is what it looks like when it's all put together. You can take off or add on depending on your desired height. Today's video we are using different shades of pink, white, and silver in 11-inch and 17 inches. All items will be linked down below. First thing, we're starting out with this 6 11-inch balloons. First thing you want to do is take your electric air pump and blow some air into the balloon. Then you want to release some air to create a perfect circle. Next, you want to crisscross the balloon necks and wrap them around twice, and then tie off the balloon, which creates a duplex, aka a dupe, which are two balloons. And you want to continue this process until you have 3 pairs of dupes, which are 6 balloons altogether. So once again, we're going to blow air into the balloon, then we're going to release some of the air to create the perfect circle. Then you want to crisscross the necks and wrap it around twice, and then tie off the balloon. It's as simple as that. Now that we have 3 dupes, we can crisscross each dupe into each other, intertwining it to create a cluster. It may take a few tries, but once you get the hang of it, it should be simple. And you've just created your first cluster. Yay! Now we're moving on to our other color, which is white. And I'm just repeating the same process that I did for the pink balloons. For this cluster, I added a 17-inch balloon in to give it more dimension, which you would blow up the same way you would blow up the other balloons. And if you want a detailed tutorial on how to create a cluster or blow up balloons, I'll link the tutorial right here for you. So once again, once you have all 3 dupes, you want to intertwine it to create your cluster. Since it is a balloon wall, I'm using smaller clusters. So I continued this process until I had about 24 clusters of 11 and 17-inch balloons. So roughly about 384 balloons altogether. And once you start creating a few clusters, you start to get the hang of it. Moving on to our clear bubble balloons. This is optional, but you can add them in. You want to start off by stretching up the balloon that prevents it from popping. Then you want to blow it up and release air, which I didn't catch on camera, but you want to do that to prevent it from popping. Then you can blow it up and tie it off. And here are some of my clusters blown up. If you plan on recreating, make sure to take a screenshot. Moving on, now it's time to create some mini garlands using the clusters. I'm using my favorite method, which is the tie neck method. And to do so, you want to go into the cluster and grab the longest neck you can find and pull them both out and tie it as you see me doing. So once again, you want to grab one of the long necks from each cluster and you want to pull it out and tie them together as you see. If you're having a difficult time doing so, rubber bands is another option. Just make sure that they're good quality, else you will get popped. And you want to take the rubber band and wrap it around one of the balloons in the cluster. And then you take another cluster and you wrap the rubber band around the other balloon, and they should connect. And it seems easy, but it's not as easy as it looks. And that's 1 mini garland out of 6 that I created. And for these mini garlands, you want to play around with the colors. You don't want the same color next to each other, so you don't have too much of the same color in the same spot. Now that we have all our garlands, you want to slide the balloons onto the lamp stand, as you see I'm doing. And once you slide it on, you want to take one of the balloons and crisscross it to interlock it so it doesn't move out of place. Now it's secure and won't move out of place. Moving on to our next garland, you want to repeat the same process of sliding it onto the pole, crisscrossing to interlock it, but also pushing down to make sure the foundation is tight. Next, you want to do the necktie method again, just to make sure that all of the clusters are secure. And you just repeat the same process until you stack each garland on top of each other. But you want to make sure that you do the necktie method to make the wall more compact. The key to it is to have a sturdy foundation, so if you move it, it won't fall apart. It'll also make your balloon wall look more neat and professional. See, once you get that technique down, it'll be no problem creating a balloon wall. Once again, here's the other option of using the rubber bands to connect the clusters together. So I'm just sliding the rubber band onto one of the balloons of the cluster and then sliding it onto the other balloon of the cluster. Just be careful not to pop your balloons. But I still prefer the necktie method. I think it makes the wall look much neater. So I only use the rubber bands if I'm unable to tie a neck together. Now that I'm getting closer to the top, I want to add a balloon to the top of the pole so it does not pop my other balloons. And once all the garlands are put together and formed your wall, you can play around with the balloons and shape it to your desired look. I chose to have more of the bigger balloons standing out in the front. Of course, zoning out per usual. And here is a standard organic balloon wall. As you can see, foundation is key to creating a neat balloon wall. Now to add some 5-inch balloons, I'm using the same colors plus a metallic pink. To blow up my 5 inches, I use a manual pump, which is optional, but I think it's easier. So I put about 3 to 4 pumps into the balloon and release the air and crisscross and tie it off the same way how I did the 11 inches. Only difference is I'm using the manual pump. Once you have 2 dupes, you can intertwine it to create a cluster. You can add more in if you like. It's all on your preference. Next, I'm taking my rubber band and I'm stretching it out and wrapping it around one of the balloons. This will make it easier to add into the balloon wall. And I repeated this process to every mini cluster. Now, if you want to create a mini garland like this, you'll need a good amount of balloons. For this, you'll need about 14 to 16 balloons to create 7 or 8 pairs of dupes. Once you created all your dupes, you want to take a 260Q balloon, stretch it out, and wrap around the first pair of dupe. Make sure to tie it so it does not unravel. And you just want to take a dupe and keep stacking it on top of each other in a opposite direction and wrapping the 260 around it in a figure 8 method. And once again, tie off the end. If you need a detailed tutorial, I'll link it below. Now it's time to add these mini clusters in. So I made about 15 of these clusters, including my 3 mini garlands. But it's optional on how many clusters you would like or the style you're going for. Since my rubber bands wasn't the best quality, I actually took the rubber band and wrapped it around the balloon rather than sliding it onto it, because I kept getting popped, which you'll catch on very quickly. Like I always say, this is where you put your balloon artistry to the test on styling your balloon wall how you desire. I continue with my color block method, but I wanted to add a little more shimmer to it, so I added the metallic pink. And I'm just taking the 260s that's already in it and wrapping them around the balloons on both ends. Now for a little pizzazz that it needs, I'm adding these cute Bobo balloons into it. And to connect it, I'm using the 260Q balloon. I'm wrapping it around the neck of the balloon, tying it off so I can easily connect it into my wall. And I'm just picking a spot where I feel it's needed and tying it in with the 260Q balloon. So for this wall, I added about 4 of them in different spots where I see fit. And I blew them up in different sizes to give more dimension. And here's the finished look. It's so pretty and pink and vibrant, and I added some arch backdrops to it to make it more formal. This is perfect for any type of event, especially if you have a photo booth or even a cake display. You could place a cake right there. If you're doing just a DIY, I hope it was very informative and it takes you to the next level. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell down here. And until next time, be blessed, guys.